Anchor Church, welcome to this week's edition of Going Deeper. This is just a simple opportunity for you to take Sunday's content and just make it more applicable. Once again, I think there's great value in you watching this short video, answering the questions for yourself, thinking, chewing on them. But ideally, you do this with somebody. Would you have a conversation? Maybe even just write these questions down and later in the week have a conversation. But we grow best when we grow together. So who can you grow together with? By taking this content, this video, and having a conversation. At church this week, we talked about the story of Joseph and his ups and downs that he had on his way to God's provision. Not just God's provision for his life, but the influence, the call that God had on his life, and how he remained anchored through the ups and downs. It's 10 chapters in the book of Genesis, and it covers 13 years. We kind of summarized it and made 4 simple observations. But the first question I want to ask you, more lighthearted, is are you a roller coaster person? Do you like going on roller coasters? If so, what is your favorite? I love roller coasters, and Aftershock at Silverwood right now is my absolute favorite roller coaster. What is your favorite roller coaster? As we see in the life of Joseph, oftentimes a life following Jesus has its ups and downs. There are storms, yet we are those who are anchored, that we have strength, we have confidence, we have stability through the storms. We made these evaluations of what the evidence of anchored people looks like. And we talked about integrity and how anchored people hold on to their integrity even in difficult circumstances. And so my question to you is, would you take a moment and evaluate what integrity looks like in your life? How well do I hold on to integrity? How do I respond to temptation? However you want to dialogue this content. When we talk about how Joseph, he didn't just resist temptation, he actually ran from it. And running from temptation can look different in our lives. It's changing up some relationships, or it's canceling a subscription, or it's deleting an app, or it's changing jobs. It could be small or it could be significant. But my question to you next is there something you need to run from? Not just resist, but run. Is there something to hold on to your integrity that you ought to run from? The next question, we talked about Joseph had God-given gifts that he exercised even in circumstances that were not ideal. As he is a slave and as he is in prison, he still exercised his God-given gifts. So maybe just for a moment, what are your God-given gifts? How has God gifted you specifically? And then the next question to follow that up is, how can you use your God-given gifts right where you are today? It's not just once you get older, or once you get greater opportunities, or once you're past this season of life, or once it matures. No, right now, God can use your gifts to serve and to love and invest in other people. So how can you use your gifts right now, right where you're at? We kind of talked about our final point was Joseph was able to desire the best for the people that hurt him the worst. It was his own family, his own brothers. And so my question to you is, as an anchored person, is how do you feel about the success of the people that have hurt you the worst? Be honest about that. It's a tough one. It's really, really difficult. How do you feel about their success? And final question or thing to pose to you is the answer to all of our deficiencies is not in our effort to be have more integrity, to resist temptation better. The answer isn't in our efforts to serve well, or to just sharpen our gifts on our own, or to just try to want the best for people that have hurt us. The answer is for our anchors to go down. The deeper our anchors go, through prayer and through worship and repentance, as we experience the presence of God, the power of God, the love of God, then these evidences of being anchored, they're a byproduct. So it's not go work harder at these. These are just revelations to us that we need our anchors to go down deeper, so that Jesus and his power and his presence will develop these responses inside of us. So the final question, where I want to land on right now, is this week, how are you going to set your anchors down deeper? Now, how do you let your anchors go down? It's prayer, it's worship, it's repentance. So how can you set aside some time, some disciplines to experience the presence of God, the power of God, and allow your anchors to go down deeper? And as the anchors go deep, man, these responses become more and more natural for us. So take this video, have a conversation with somebody. Don't just think about this alone. If it's at all possible, talk to somebody else about this. We love you, Anchor Church, and so excited to continue this Anchored series with you next week. God bless.